I held my position while the radio went silent and the night kept its answers. The orders said stay, even as the road filled with movement I could not report. At dawn, my choice was no longer between right and wrong, but between seen and surrounded. When relief finally came, the consequences were already written in the ground behind us. September 1943. Northern Italy. Foothills south of the Apennines, near a secondary road used for night movement. The operational situation was unsettled. Allied forces had landed weeks earlier. German units were withdrawing in stages, establishing delaying lines. Infantry patrols were used to hold ground, watch roads, and report movement. This story follows one such patrol. Not a named unit. Not a celebrated action. An infantry patrol assigned to remain in place through the night. The patrol's task was simple on paper. Maintain observation of a narrow valley. Prevent surprise movement along a dirt road. Report enemy contact. Withdraw only on explicit order. The men were not new to the area. They had rotated through similar duties for several nights. Each patrol followed the same routine. Move before dusk. Set positions in darkness. Remain still until relieved. They carried standard equipment. Rifles cleaned earlier that afternoon. Limited ammunition. A single radio with a short-range battery. Rations meant to last until morning. The ground was uneven. Rocky soil, low brush. Stone walls from abandoned farms. Visibility was poor even in daylight. By early evening, the patrol reached its assigned line. They spread out in pairs. Spacing was close enough to pass quiet signals. Far enough apart to avoid a single burst reaching all of them. Routine defined the first hours. Listening, watching, checking time by touch, not light. The men shifted weight carefully to avoid sound. The radio operator tested the set once. Static, then silence. The signal was weak but present. It was logged as acceptable. No one expected contact. The sector had been quiet. Reports from earlier patrols mentioned only distant movement. No direct engagement. Near midnight, the air cooled sharply. Condensation formed on metal. Hands stiffened. Breathing slowed. The first sign of trouble was not gunfire. It was the absence of scheduled contact. At a prearranged time, the patrol was to receive a status check. Nothing came through. The radio operator adjusted the antenna. He waited. Still nothing. This was not unusual on its own. Terrain interfered with signals. Batteries drained quickly in the cold. The patrol leader considered options. Protocol was clear. Remain in position unless ordered otherwise. Do not reveal location unnecessarily. They waited. Around 1 in the morning, faint movement was detected down the road. Not engines. Footsteps. Irregular. Slow. The patrol froze. No one spoke. Weapons were raised but not aimed openly. Shapes passed through the darkness. Too distant to identify. Possibly a local civilian. Possibly enemy scouts. The patrol did not engage. Orders emphasized observation. Avoid contact unless necessary. Minutes passed. Then more movement. This time closer. The patrol leader attempted radio contact again. The signal failed completely. The battery indicator showed minimal power. The operational problem became clearer. They were isolated. Unable to report. Unable to receive new instructions. Still, doctrine required them to hold. Withdrawal without order risked exposing the road. Remaining risked being cut off. The men adjusted positions slightly. They used hand signals. Quiet taps on stone. Controlled breathing. By early morning, distant artillery was heard to the east. Not close, but steady. This suggested movement along the front, possibly a shift in lines. Possibly preparation for withdrawal. The patrol did not know. As dawn approached, visibility improved slightly. With it came greater danger. The patrol's concealment depended on darkness. At first light, enemy infantry appeared on the road, not a full unit. Small groups moving cautiously. The patrol leader made a decision. He chose not to fire. Engagement would reveal positions. They were too few to hold against a coordinated response. Instead, the patrol remained still. They let the first group pass. Soon after, heavier movement followed. Supplies, pack animals, more personnel. It became clear the road was being used deliberately. The patrol's mission had shifted without notification. At this point, doctrine conflicted with reality. Holding position meant eventual discovery. Withdrawing meant abandoning observation. The patrol leader ordered a partial reposition, not a withdrawal. A shift back into thicker cover. This adjustment was unofficial. It was not in the orders. It was necessary. As the patrol moved, a noise broke the silence. Loose stone. A brief scrape. Enemy voices followed. Commands exchanged quickly. Fire erupted without warning. Short bursts. Controlled. As the patrol returned fire selectively, not to advance, to disengage. The skirmish was brief, but costly. One infantryman was hit during movement. The medic reached him under fire. There was little he could do. The patrol withdrew further upslope, still without orders, still without radio contact. By full daylight, they were no longer observing the road. They were simply trying to avoid encirclement. Eventually, friendly forces appeared from the rear, a delayed relief element. Confusion followed. The road had been reassigned overnight. Orders had been issued. They had not reached the patrol. The patrol leader reported verbally. There was no formal inquiry. Losses were recorded. The incident was logged as minor contact. The consequences were quiet. No recognition, no reprimand. The patrol's experience did not enter official summaries, but it reflected a larger pattern. Communication delays, rigid doctrine, small units absorbing risk without guidance. Infantry patrols held ground not because of strategy alone, but because orders failed to keep pace with reality. If you value careful, grounded histories like this, consider subscribing to the channel.